Is it a good idea to buy the building where your dental practice lives? My name is Paul, Dr. Nacho Goodman. I'm thrilled to be here with Josh Kim of 7 Accelerator, key resource and sponsor. And he's going to share with us creative strategies to buy your dental practice building. Should you buy your dental practice building? How does this whole thing work? Josh, thanks for joining me on Talking Nachos. Give our audience just a little brief rundown of what you do in your daily health dentist life.
Yeah, so thanks for having me on. My business, 7 Accelerator, we specialize in working with all kinds of medical professionals, dentists, vets, docs. A lot of what we do is the same. We really just help them walk through and navigate the process of, whether it's getting capital to buy out a building, buy out a partner, buy another location, really just figuring out the best way to leverage outside SBA financing capital to grow their business. There's a lot of ways you can do that, but a lot of it comes down to the same a lot of the same factors. It doesn't matter what you're using the money for, you got to still go through the same process. So we help by walking dentists through how to secure SBA financing. We walk them through finding the best lender that's going to be best suited to their unique needs, as well as, guiding them through the whole process, making sure they can go from A to Z as seamlessly as possible while not getting stressed.
So valuable, because I don't know if this comes as a surprise to you, Josh. They've covered zero of this in dental school, literally zero of how to buy a building, how to buy a practice. So let's drill down, pun intended, into this building thing. So we help dentists buy and sell practices. We have a dentist, Dr. Guac. She's going to buy her first practice. The practice is $800,000. It sits inside of a condo that's $300,000. Dr. Guac can get full financing for her practice, but now she says, man, do I have the down payment for this $300,000 building? Should I buy it? Is it worth it? Is it too much of a risk? Is there a risk not to buy it? Share some insight in what you see in your daily 7 Accelerator life on how you help dentists make these decisions, or how you could guide Dr. Guac in some options.
Yeah, so there's a lot of high-level factors that come down. So one of the nice things about why people would go to SBA financing specifically for buying a building is the low down payment requirements. Traditional commercial financing, they're going to want probably at least 20, sometimes 25, 30% cash down as part of a building purchase or anything tied to real estate. The nice thing about SBA is, it's usually only 10%. And in a lot of instances where I'm working with dentists, we're often able to get it to a no money out of pocket situation because, we can argue to the lender, hey, there's enough existing equity in the practice here. There should be no need for the dentist to come out of pocket with any cash. So there are certain situations where, we can help them utilize that. I mean, a lot of the factors that go into, should you rent or should you buy, I would say it comes down to, what is your rent payment? What is your mortgage payment? How long are you planning on being there? If you're getting some ridiculous below market rate, a total steal of a rent rate, and it's below market and you've got a long-term lease on the location that you're in, I can't argue that there's going to be a ton of benefits of buying. But most situations, if you're paying a fair market lease, you're on a 2 to 5 year term at any given time, it probably makes sense to purchase a location. Maybe not the location that you're in right there, but buying another one. Because if you're planning on being there for the next 10, 20 years for your practice till you sell it, why not? If you're spending that same amount monthly anyway on the lease for that location, why not just put it back in your pocket through a mortgage, pay down the principal? It's all those three things when it comes to wealth creation through real estate, right? You've got the cash flow of it, which I guess the cash flow is going to your pocket, the property appreciation, and then the mortgage reduction by, paying down the principal.
Really great point. So as me, I own 2 practices. One, we own the building, one we rent. And, I say do the work while you're doing the work. You might as well build equity while you're annoying yourself with full contact arts and crafts. So in the practice that I own, we're paying rent to ourselves. In the building I own. And the other we own, it's in a strip mall. Doesn't mean I don't like that practice. Just means that we're paying rent and we're not getting any equity. So that's like a golden nacho tip. Talk with your team to determine if this is the right move for you. Now, what I imagine, and we talk about the transition team. So we talk about this Dr. Guac. She's 32 years old, buying her practice, going to work with you to learn about her real estate purchase. Who are you working? Who else is on this team that you connect with? Do you connect with lawyers? Do you connect with accountants? Because this is a big decision for these dentists. Just share kind of who you're connecting with and other professionals in this process.
Yeah, so typically the 3 key people that you're going to need to involve in the process of getting an SBA loan, it's going to be obviously your banker, the banker, whoever is involved with the process. But outside of that, I'm the one usually bringing a banker to the table depending on the unique needs of the dentist. But the other key professionals that you're going to need to have in the process are your attorney, obviously they're going to need to be involved in getting the purchase agreement done, looking through all the documents. Yeah. You're also going to need your accountant. The accountant is going to need to be able to pull together all the requested financial statements. And some people have different accountants for their personal side than they do for the business side. So, obviously any financing is going to require, looking at your personal side as well as the business side. So if you have two different accountants, having them both there to be able to pull whatever tax returns together that are needed. But also, the other key professional that is usually involved with the SBA process is going to be, your attorney accountant, but, often people overlook it, your insurance guy. So, the reason you got to involve your insurance guy is, there's usually lease, requirements with SBA that have to be met. You've got different nuances of getting that done. So a lot of times, we have to get the insurance agent of the dentist involved because there's different requirements. So they usually come a little bit later to the process after the loan's been approved. But
it's so key.
Yeah, those are the three key people I've included.
And I know somebody who is hanging out with me today about buying a home and probably didn't realize how many people you need to involve in buying a home, from inspectors and this and that. Yeah. So what I encourage listeners and watchers to do is start building your team and interacting with the team and interviewing your team. You can text NTT to 215-543-6454 to connect with our key resources and sponsors who are on this team, including Josh at 7 Accelerator, because we will send you back connections. And it's up to you to JFO, just find out, are they the right fit for you? Are they the right personality type for you? But if you miss a key player on the team, you can truly burn your nachos in this process. So Josh, thanks for sharing that. The next thing I want to go through is, I'm a dentist and people open up with, I hate you. It's not very nice, Josh, right? People go to the dentist and he tells us, I say, I'm just trying to help you chew and smile, Mrs. Smith. So dentists are often misunderstood. Where is SBA lending misunderstood? Yeah. Because it's a spicy topic. People say, always use SBA, never use it. I got scammed by SBA. And I want to say those people, what does SBA stand for? They don't even know half the time, right? So my point is, our dental people tend to be a little negative. So unravel, share with us, why does SBA, how is it misunderstood? Whether it's with a practice loan for the building or the practice itself.
Yeah, so high level, I'd say, so this is just something that has come up more recently. I mean, obviously with COVID, we had PPP, we had EIDL, we had all these disaster related relief programs that have been out there. EIDL in and of itself is not a new program. The Emergency Impact Disaster Loan, those have been around before. But a lot of times they have misdirected frustration at the SBA because of some of those programs. Gotcha. I mean, the rollout of these COVID relief programs was unprecedented by, a lot of measures. And so it's hard to fault the government for rolling something out at the scale they did and the time they did. So that's one of the things I'll qualify for people with the 7A, 504, and 7A programs, which are the two main flagship loan products that are out there. Those ones are actually done by banks. And so the big misconception a lot of people have is they say, oh, I had a negative experience with SBA. Screw SBA. I don't want to deal with it anymore. Forget it. And what I have to tell people a lot of times is your frustration is not really actually directed at the SBA. The SBA just they administer the program, right? At the end of the day, the banks are the ones that are doing the loans. And I've had a lot of situations where I'll give an example. I had a dentist I was talking to recently. He has multiple practices, right? His cash flow across the locations he has is like $2 million a year. Gotcha. Okay. He went to Bank of America and he was like, hey, I want to go buy a building for another location. They wouldn't do it for him. They wanted like 30% down. And he's like, this is an SBA loan. I shouldn't have to do this. But unfortunately, that is a very common headache that I hear from people is, oh, well, my bank said this. And what's key to emphasize is your bank said that. The SBA did that. And so, the big misconception a lot of people have is whenever they have a problem with the program that has something to do with the SBA itself versus an issue with the individual lender that they're talking to. Because a lot of times lenders will throw the SBA under the bus anytime just something with the deal's not going well, right? Oh, well, we can't get this done because of the SBA, right? I heard a story about one time.
Blaming other people? That sounds very
other people.
Yeah, that sounds very human. Yeah. I've been a human being for 43 years. I've noticed that. I think what you're sharing is just, this is what I want to do on Talking Nachos, Dental Nachos, all the things to do is to really dig into these plates and see what's happening, right? Instead of judging and having preconceived notions, it's the right solution for the right person. What you shared just there is something that's common to you, but might not be common to my listeners. Banks stop wanting to lend after a certain amount of practices traditionally, and that's their space. Then you get into another space where maybe they want someone who has 4 or 5 practices, where the bank that gave you your first practice loan doesn't want to do that. Just like you, dentist, might want to do fillings and crowns and restore implants, but might not want to take out wisdom teeth or do endo. So is that kind of a fair comparison, Josh, where different banks and different banks have different appetites, to use a Nacho term, for different types of loans?
Correct. And a lot of times, like, Chase, Bank of America, Practice Solutions, some of those guys that specialize in the traditional financing, those are great to go to, up to, $750,000, $1 million for your first practice or whatever. But above and beyond that, they clam up and won't help you. So, the biggest myth that I like, dispelling for people is, not all banks are created equal. And so that relates to banks that do SBA as well as banks that don't do SBA, because some of the best SBA lenders in the country are small banks that you probably never heard of.
Right.
And that's literally all they do. Right. I mean,
and that's why,
hundreds of millions a year.
I try to take everything and make it. There's specialized banks, lending partners, advisors, just like there's specialized dentists. Just like when someone comes in and says, I need a retreatment on number 15 to a crown, I say, you can go to our endodontist friend. That's not a risk or hassle I want to take, but the endodontist assigned him to do that. So you've delivered so much great value, Josh. I always like kind of a one thing takeaway. If my audience is listening, they're going to buy a practice, they're thinking about buying their building, they want to invest in real estate, what's a message you want to get out to them and share with us? You're an awesome sponsor. How can people contact you at 7A Accelerator?
Yeah. So biggest takeaway I would say is, if you're, and it's just like anything, right? If you're going to go interview any professional, right? For let's say you want to go interview a trust and estate attorney, right? You're going to want to ask them, like, hey, how many dentists have you worked with?
Right.
What is your specialty? What is your expertise working with guys like me? Because you want to make sure they have done work with people in your exact situation. Right. The same thing goes with banks, right? And what a lot of people, just in general, this is not just unique to dentists, it's just all business owners, a big misconception they have is, you got to go hand in, what's the phrase,
hat in hand.
Hat in hand. That's the one. Yeah. You go hat in hand to the bank, hey, can I please get some money? At the end of the day, like, you're the borrower, right? Bankers get paid to go lend you money. So you got to interview them, right? You got to ask them, like, how many dental practices have you done? Have you done dental practice acquisitions in the $1 to $2 million range? Have you lent, this range of my industry in this geography? So by asking those questions, you can weed out a lot of lenders that are not going to be able to really help you, because you'll be able to narrow down the real players very quickly, right? If they haven't done deals with businesses of your kind, then don't waste your time. So that's really what I would say the biggest takeaway is for people, is make sure you're working with professionals that are able to help you, as well as bankers, because bankers at the end of the day are professionals, and you want to make sure that they can actually help you, and you're not just wasting your time.
Awesome takeaway. Get the team around you that you need to succeed. The team needs to succeed. And how can people reach out to you directly, Josh, if they want to learn more about what you do?
Yeah. So if you want to reach out, I'm sure we'll put a link in the description below, but you can just go to 7accelerator.com. If you've got direct questions, you want to reach out to me, my email is very simple. It's just josh@7accelerator.com. But yeah, just mention that you saw us on the Nacho podcast here with you and had questions. I mean, whether you're looking at buying your first practice, whether you're looking at possibly selling your practice, and you want to help arrange the financing for an associate, any kind of situation that requires some sort of transaction of money with it, there's probably a way that SBA can help, and I'd be more than happy to consult.
I know,
Jack,
if it'd be a fit for you. You probably can't give like a special banking deal for our Nacho thing, but what if you could you make one of those giant checks like they gave Billy Madison when you get the money to people? That's what I want to be known for. When you get this $1 million, make them one of those oversized checks from 7A Accelerator. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing. You guys can text NTT to 215-543-6454. If you want to be featured on Talking Nachos, just reach out to us at dentalnachos.com and mention Talking Nachos. Thanks so much, Josh. Really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks.